Welcome back to the Tailosive Space Podcast. I'm joined this evening with DJ. How are you doing, Mr. Co-host DJ?
Doing great. Finally got out of the cold weather, though, and summer's back, apparently.
You what? Cold weather? No one in this country has experienced cold weather this past couple weeks. Come on.
Oh man, I wish. It was just like, here, let's just take a big old 4-inch chunk of ice and drop it on Mississippi.
That's literally what happened. And Texas and most of the Midwest.
Everywhere.
And everywhere that's, even like Seattle and Portland got dumped.
Everywhere except Alaska, because apparently Texas had colder temps than Alaska did.
I didn't know this. That sounds like something that Alaskans are going to hold over them.
That's nice. Oh, there we're back.
Now we're back. See, it's not only the temperature that's freezing, it's also our internet connection here, which is why we're so excited about Starlink, right, DJ? Can we get a whoop whoop for Starlink?
Woo, woo. That's the most unenthusiastic whoop I think I've ever had. But
I know, right? Like, weird nerds. We don't do the woot woots. So I think this is a good segue here. We should probably start off this week. Obviously, there's some larger news, but I think most impactful to you and me, DJ, is the fact that we lost one of the bravest boosters ever.
RIP.
A moment of silence for BN 1059. Cricket. All right.
Don't you mean
I think
seagull?
that was enough
Seagull?
moments of
Seagull?
silence. Seagull. Mine. Okay. Yes. We all can agree that it was very nice of BN 1059 to not vaporize the 3 birds that were on the pad. But can I say, for the record, those birds should have read the notice to airmen alert saying that was unsafe airspace to be flying in.
I'm sure they're going to get an FAA fine sometime soon if they can ever find where they live.
I sure hope they do, because those birds single-handedly caused the loss of a multi-million-dollar booster.
Oh, man.
It's going to make my internet service take that much longer to get to me. Dang it.
Luckily, payload went off without a hitch. So,
hey, that is so true.
It just only cost SpaceX a few million.
Just a few million. And last I checked, SpaceX definitely isn't bleeding cash right now. So they're having no problems whatsoever. No, SpaceX is going to make it just fine. They've passed that point of just like Tesla, SpaceX is going to be around for the long haul for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of weird because most of the time I say if I'm not sleeping, so if the launch isn't between like 1 in the morning and like 6 in the morning, I watch all of the Starlink missions. And when I say watch, I mean I get my phone out, I get my iPad out, I sit there, and I go, oh, we got a rocket launch today! And I'm so excited and happy. And I'm sitting there screenshotting it and counting down and listening to the test shot Starfish intro and outro music, and it's just a whole event for me. But the one time I didn't do that, we lose the booster.
We almost had 25, a nice round number. But these seagulls just had to make it 24.
My OCD is going to kill me for the rest of my life because it wasn't the 75th flight. It was the 75th flight, but it wasn't the 25th successful landing in a row. And it's like, you seagulls. And I think we also figured out it was the halfway point between landing.
It was the 50-50 point. Reused and non-reused.
Seagulls.
Well,
I know we're not blaming it on the...
That had nothing to do with the 50-50, though, so we're good on the 50-50. Because that was 50% reused and 50% non-reused.
True. Okay, that's true. All right, so we're only out of whack by our 24 perfect landing streak. Yeah. And which is completely to be expected, right? Like, we're nerds and excited about technology and space, so we're going to moan every time that something doesn't go perfect. But just congrats to the SpaceX team and the Starlink team and the Falcon 9 team who have gotten this booster to fly 5 other times, nail the landing 5 other times, and fly successfully 6 times. Bravo, SpaceX. That is amazing. And
it's not like they don't have any longer life leader boosters to look at. I mean, because they've got a life leader of 8 right now, or 2 of them of 8, I believe.
I think they have 2 8, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a 6 flight booster. Something went wrong. It had a 59-day turnaround, which is, you would think that the the record setter turnaround would have been the one that messed up.
Exactly.
But I mean, hey, But the last time we actually lost a booster was also a Starlink mission, because we lost 2 in a row, kind of like back to back. I believe it was.
I do remember that. Yeah, it's like early last year.
Starlink is bad luck for some reason sometimes.
No, it's just the fact that most launches are on new boosters. I mean, for any expensive satellites, any people, they're all new boosters, right? I guess Crew 1 was an old booster. But anyway, like for the big NASA projects, they want a new booster. They don't want to be flying some equivalent of 400,000 miled Honda Civic around. So that's what you get. Sometimes things go wrong and wheels fall off and center core engines don't light, or center, not core. What's the MD?
First, you talking about the center engine?
It's the center engine, but they have a name for that. It's the MD.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I've never heard it referred to.
Anywho, but yeah. So from what we can tell, and by we I mean Scott Manley, because Scott Manley is an absolute legend, and anyone in the space community who doesn't know space in
Manley?
general. I was going to say Space Manley, but I knew that wasn't right, so I was trying to fit the word space into another sentence, because I speak good English, folks. Unlike me, Scott Manley can say his words properly, like monomethylhydrazine or dinitrogen tetroxide. So he can say those in the best accent possible. So we got Scott doing a little deep dive on what footage and telemetry data that we did have from Starlink 19. And he concluded it was likely the center engine that started disintegrating a few minutes into its reentry burn.
Yeah, because it was right after it had stopped the reentry burn. It was still glowing and fiery, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and he showed a graph with the telemetry. Because I think this was one of the first times, maybe we've had it one other time, but this is one of the first times where we've had telemetry on both the second stage and first stage simultaneously.
I think they've been doing it for the past few launches.
Yeah, so it's kind of a recent thing, though.
I'm glad they're doing that again, because they did it a while back. But I also think that was one of like the NRO missions where they couldn't show second stage telemetry. So
interesting.
But hey, another cool thing that actually happened on that stream though is Tim Dodd had a kind of a guest appearance in the form of a test shot starfish collab.
Yes. Say more. We need to hear more about this.
I mean, it was just a music collab, so it's not that much, but
no, it's a good song though. Tim is a very talented. For all of you who don't know, I'm gonna give a shout out, because obviously Scott and Tim's channel are just completely derivative of our fan base here. So I'm gonna give another shout out to Tim Dodd, who has one of the best albums out there. I don't remember what it's called. It's The Everyday Astronaut. If you just search Everyday Astronaut on whatever streaming platform you have, he has some really good music. Like surprisingly good for a video guy, space guy. Like he's also a really accomplished artist. And I'm a big fan of test shot starfish ever since Elon started using them for all things SpaceX, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
I love music that has a lot of detail to it, and so when two of my favorite artists got together and made a collab, I was just like, yes! And now it's in like SpaceX streams, and I'm just like, yes!
After Falcon Heavy's first flight, when he wrote the 27 Merlins to the whole thing of it, I took it into Studio A back at school, and I just sat there and played it and listened to the entire thing, and then with the nice speakers and all that. I want to go back and do that again with the newer speakers that we got in Studio B, which are even better. I just like it, just listening to it and watching it back.
That sounds so nice.
Falcon Heavy is just something else.
Yeah. Well, hey, we should, before we get too involved in SpaceX, because this is Talos of Space, not Talos of SpaceX, we need to mention what probably is the headlining space news for anyone who's listened to anything over the past 2 weeks. Even like average people who could care less about space know exactly what's going on up on Mars right now. We had one of the most well-marketed and most pressed of Mars landings that we've had in probably, I don't know, Curiosity was what, 2014? So quite a few years.
Yeah, something like that.
2012,
I think.
2012? Anyway,
I think it was 2012.
It's been a while. And so we had lots of hype surrounding Mars, which was really fun to see. First time in a while that we've all been so excited about Mars at the same time. Did you get to watch this landing live? And by live, I mean with the 12-minute light delay.
No, I didn't. Got a phone call and was stuck on it the entire time.
DJ, you call yourself a space fan, but yet you don't go... No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't have watched it if... I knew that the NASA stream wasn't going to have any like live video or anything like super exciting. It was just going to be people calling stuff out. I did end up watching... I was live streaming it, I guess, with Drew, but I had one AirPod in the stream going on. The public stream, NASA had like 2 streams going. The public stream was like complete garbage. It was like, this is what Mars is. And I'm like, yeah, we know. But they did have the JPL loops available for public listening. And so that was really fun to get to listen to all the controllers do their call outs and configure systems and stuff. And I was tracking with about 80% of the stuff they were talking about, which is always kind of fun when I'm like, oh, yeah, I know what Tango Delta means.
You know the 80-20 rule. So you got 20% of your working towards your knowledge in that 80% right there. Now you just got to spend a whole lot more time to get that last 20.
That is so true. That is so true. But I'm basically a rocket scientist, so that's what that means.
Absolutely.
100%
space
rocket scientist.
Do a space podcast, you're a rocket scientist. Done. That's exactly how you get it. Give me the diploma.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure how that works. So what was new with Perseverance here? We had a Mars 2020 Perseverance rover landing. What was new with it?
We had a lot of video, and for the first successful time, we have actual audio recordings, not stuff made into audio like has been done, not seismic audio, not anything else. Actual DPA microphones on Perseverance. And guess what? It doesn't sound like much.
I know. It's like...
if you've ever worked with any audio equipment and turned a microphone all the way up and heard it after it's just sitting in a quiet room, it really sounds exactly like that because it's 1% atmosphere and that thing is cranked. It's nothing.
Yeah. It's like...
Just like every now and then, maybe a speck of dust hits it. And...
Exactly. Yeah. No. So I really, as anticlimactic as it was, kind of, especially not to have it on during landing. Not sure what happened there. So JP, I'll take a look at that. But I didn't really realize, but it makes total sense now. One of the NASA commentators who was talking about the microphone. Was talking about how this is really a game changer for the visually impaired. There are lots of people who have heard all about these missions and stuff, but since we're only getting visual data back, if you're visually impaired, you're not going to have that relationship with the spacecraft like a lot of us do. You know, whether that's setting your wallpaper as a picture of Mars or whatever. We have these relationships with these pictures that a lot of people can't have. And this microphone working on the surface of Mars is kind of the first time that this whole group of people can have a relationship with Mars in a way that we've had the privilege of having for a long time. So that was really exciting to see and kind of get that extra perspective in life. So
I never actually thought about this. Where the people that are unfortunately that have been visually impaired from birth don't get to just look up and see the stars. I've never thought about that until you just mentioned about the microphone being for visually impaired. That is,
and obviously wasn't the purpose. Just like the cameras.
But I had just never thought about that
science
though, either.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like wow, yeah, like you and I have relationships with things in ways that are very different for other people, and it's kind of cool when other people can have those same relationships but in a different way than we do. So it's very, very cool stuff. We also have the coolest little helicopter in the entire solar system, in my ever so humble opinion. Ingenuity, right?
Basically, they're going to fly something that's extremely light for an RC helicopter, basically, in 1% atmosphere for maybe 90 seconds. Hopefully, and we might get a few successful ones Yeah, hopefully 5 times. Maybe it can go longer, depending. We'll see.
So, yeah, ever since I heard about the Dragonfly mission, which was one of my favorite unrealized missions, which I think it's still on the table. But
that's the quadcopter one, isn't it?
It's the quadcopter on Titan. It makes so much sense. That quadcopter on Titan, it's like Titan and the quadcopter were just built for each other. Because Titan's atmosphere is, I don't know how many times heavier, thicker, more pressurized than here on Earth. It's an order of magnitude, 10 times, I don't know. Heavier atmosphere. That means that you can bring a heavier payload with smaller rotor blades and still achieve enough lift, because it's more viscous. And
it's about 1.5 times.
1.5 times
our surface pressure. Yeah.
Cool. So anyway, since it's thicker, they can have smaller smaller prop blades, and they can also carry a radioisotope electric generator, thermal electric generator, whatever those things are, whatever's powering Percy right now.
It's a nuclear power plant, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, a decaying plutonium reaction produces heat, which somehow produces electricity during magical scientific things that I know nothing about. But because of this, you have sustained power for a long period of time as far as like mission duration and lifetime. And then, with batteries, you can supplement those hops. And so this mission plan for the Dragonfly mission was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minute hops, followed by like 2 or 3 day stops and scientific observations.
Yeah.
And like that, I love Titan as like a planet. I'm starting to love it a little bit more than I love Mars. Obviously, Mars is that much more reachable, but like,
yeah,
Titan seems like a better fit for humanity than Mars does, to be honest, because Mars is kind of like the Sahara Desert, and Titan is kind of like the tundra. It's like, okay, the tundra is not exactly hospitable either, but at least you have water.
Yeah.
At least you have something besides a rock. So anyway, I would love to see that mission go, but we have the very first helicopter in the solar system that's not going to be flying on planet Earth. I'm very happy.
What I'm really ready to see, though, is either watching it fly away, or I can't remember if they said there was a camera on it, camera that you can actually get other data other than just like scientific type, if it's an actual RGB camera. But watching Percy from the drone as well.
True.
So if they actually do that, that'll be amazing.
I would imagine they'd have to take some kind of selfie shot of Percy.
Yeah, we have Curiosity's little sticking the arm out selfie. What about not a selfie maybe?
Hey, I'm all for it. Yeah.
But speaking of that, we have footage all the way from heat shield down to landing.
I was very happy to see that footage. I'm kind of glad we didn't record any earlier this week, because that was all just released yesterday, and it was good to kind of get a few hours to process all of those cool images and enjoy them to their fullest and get other people's reactions on them. But yeah, we definitely had some really beautiful pictures or videos. They were technically images taken at 30 or 70 something frames a second, so they're stitched together as videos. But to be honest, it's not like earth-shattering. Like, all of these renders look way cooler. All of those JPL renders just set the real thing up for so much of a failure, because like it looks so cool when the JPL render, like the sky crane comes. And it's just all like, you get the camera shake and the flames and the dust, and it's just like, and you're like, oh yeah. But no, the real.
Meanwhile, it's just a black and white video.
Exactly. Meanwhile, it's a black and white video of no flames coming out of the thrusters. I don't think it was actually black and white though. I think they were all. There was a problem with the color grading on a few of the images they sent back, because they haven't quite calibrated the cameras yet. But the parachute deploy was definitely in color, because the parachute is orange.
Oh, well, then I might just be remembering. I might just be mixing it up between the two.
It's definitely really gray. So if there is color data, it's like practically all one color, which you'd expect on Mars. But yeah, so it was a little. It's always a little anticlimactic seeing something happen in real life versus a render. Just like with the Starship hops or whatever. Like those hops look so great in the renders, and then in real life, it's like, wow, it doesn't look as cool, but like it's cooler to know it's actually happening instead of just pretending to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, it is cool that we can physically see what was going on, other than just a computer saying, "Hey, this is what should happen."
Mm-hmm.
We got to see what did and what was successful, and this is the. I don't think they actually got any video of any of the landing in Curiosity. They just got photos didn't they?
No, they got a video from the parachute deploy, from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter.
No, I'm talking about Curiosity, not not Perseverance.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they only got photos from Perseverance
during the
landing.
I think you're right. I wasn't super into space at that time. I mean, I've always been into space, but I wasn't hyper tuned to that. What was that, 6 years ago? Yeah. No, it was fun to watch, and cool to see the grittiness of it, I guess, is how I'd say, because the JPL renders are like always very airbrushed and beautiful, and they look really appealing. Saturated colors, kind of bluish reddish sky, very pretty. But this just feels a lot more gritty, and it feels more real, and obviously it is real, but it feels like this is what Mars would actually feel like. Like, we've seen The Martian or, other movies that portray Mars as being this kind of beautiful red planet, when in actuality it's, just like Earth has its beautiful days and not beautiful days. I'm sure Mars has its beautiful days, but it's just real. So I appreciated that landing and the video we got from it. So we got the parachute deploy. We got the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. We got the heat shield, and then that was from Perseverance looking down. So that went from heat shield deploy all the way to touchdown. And then we got the sky crane up and the sky crane looking down, and that was Percy looking up at the sky crane and the sky crane looking down, and that's pretty cool. So
sky crane looking up. Oh, what do I see?
Parachute. Well, I guess that was the parachute deploy. So
yeah, but hey,
and
video on Mars.
I think that was pretty successful. A little audio would have gone a long ways, but hey, we have another $2 billion and 7 years to wait, so we can just wait for next time. Please, Elon, get us to Mars before then. That'd be really sad. Do you think this might be? Ooh, this is a good question for you, DJ. Go ahead. It sounds like you're gonna. I'm gonna divert us a little. Go ahead.
Well, we know that this one is gonna actually capture samples and then drop it, waiting for something else to come pick it up and take it back to Earth. What are the odds that before that actually happens, somebody wearing a SpaceX spacesuit is going to walk up and grab that and just stow it away in Starship?
That was the exact question I was going to ask you. I think we're on the same wavelength. I think it's not 0, but it's not 10%. It's somewhere in there.
Yeah. It's along the lines.
I wouldn't go sell my house for lottery tickets, but I also would not buy lottery tickets.
Yeah.
If Elon has his way, we'll be there next week. So if we can keep SpaceX going, and honestly, if we look at the progress of what SpaceX has been able to do just in the last five, let's just call it 10 years. I think 10 years. We might have another rover before 10 years from now, but I think, another landmark rover probably isn't going to be in the works for the next few years. But anyway, SpaceX, 2011, SpaceX was trying to figure out their Falcon 9 program still. They weren't really, I think they had sent up a few in 2009 and 2010, but they weren't really hitting their stride until about 2011, which was 10 years ago. And they weren't landing any of them until 2016. And just look at all of the progress that's changed from 2011 to now.
Just crazy.
And I think Starship's on a very similar, if not even more accelerated trajectory, because at the time, SpaceX was really, really cash strapped, especially between 2010 and 2015-ish, when they were just fighting for
everything that they made needed to work for them to make the money to keep on going.
Exactly. But now with Starlink being hopefully in place in the next year or so, SpaceX is going to have pretty much not an unlimited amount of money, but like Apollo-sized budgets of money to just be like, yeah, okay, we're going now. I would say it's between like 5 and 10% chance of us making it to Mars within the next 10 years or so. And obviously it's optimistic, and I'm sure you can find people from the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and the 60s all saying that. So I will be the person in 2021 saying by 2031 we might have people on Mars, which people listening to this show in 2031 will be like, man, that kid was wrong. Or maybe I was right. Who knows?
What are you talking about? We got another 25 years.
No! See, Elon needs to die on Mars. That's it needs to happen.
That Elon needs to be the supreme leader of Mars, and then that's it.
Yeah, with the Dogecoin. Supreme leader of Mars.
That's the official currency of Mars.
I support this. Dogecoin to the moon / Mars.
The flag is a Doge.
I approve of this. A red Doge. Oh my gosh. This is terrible. Well, we got kind of off track a little there. Good.
Picture this first before we reel ourselves back in.
All right, I'm all for it. Go ahead.
It's like the Russian flag, but with Doge.
I'm just imagining Wide Putin walking on Mars. Hashtag Soyuz to Mars, please. Knowing our luck, Soyuz is still going to be in service when we're on Mars.
Probably. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That is a good mentality to have, especially when you don't throw your entire national budget at this STS or. Mm-hmm. Anyway, hey, while we're on SpaceX, we got some news down from Boca Chica. We got some frosty turtles. Turtles. I almost said tortoises, but they're turtles. So I corrected.
It's icy turtles.
Turtles. They were very, very cold.
Turtles.
So the turtles came to the beach, and a bunch of people were trying to save about 4,500 turtles that were just beached because it was so cold.
A lot of turtles.
No, it's a very much a lot of turtles. So
I never thought about this when it gets cold. What do? Because they kind of go into like a paralysis state.
Exactly.
Like, oh, well,
they're just kind of frozen. They're called cold stunned turtles, and so evidently there is a group of people who like it's their job, or maybe part-time job, to like save sea turtles when it gets cold. And they are called, I'm scrolling for it, so maybe we'll have to wait a little bit. Let's see if I can't find this. Anyway, this group of totally awesome people at Sea Turtle Incorporated is a nonprofit education, rehabilitation, and conservation organization in South Padre Island, Texas. They took in over 4,500 sea turtles, and they were running out of people and space to collect these sea turtles. Imagine there being so many sea turtles on a beach that your organization literally doesn't have enough people to save them or space to put them in. Like, it just must be covered in. I've seen pictures.
That is just nuts.
It was.
It's like the pictures of snowy beaches, except it's turtle beaches.
Exactly, which is infinitely cuter. However, they're starting to die because it's too cold. So what did SpaceX do? Yeah. Did SpaceX do what I'm sure most big companies would do and turn their noses at that and say, no, our clean rooms are so clean, we can't have dirty animals in our clean warehouses? No. They did the right thing. All of the SpaceX employees who could went down and helped collect sea turtles and bring them back to SpaceX headquarters. I would love to be one of them sea turtles. If I couldn't be those seagulls, I would have...
Get the nice inside look.
Yes. If I couldn't been one of them seagulls, I would have rather been one of them sea turtles. Yeah. So, hey, that happened, and that's pretty cool. So, SpaceX, good on you. You get another Nic and Sweeney thumbs up. Good job.
Oh, something else I actually forgot to mention pre-show. Did you watch... or did you end up going back and watching Sandy Monroe's Elon video?
I did. Yes.
All right. Well, also, I watched Sandy's recap of that whole trip.
I heard that one too.
And you watched the video about him talking with Elon afterwards?
I think I mentioned it in this week's tech podcast that went up yesterday.
Well.
No, it's not a dig on you. I don't listen to my own shows either. But yeah, definitely one of the coolest stories I've ever heard about Elon, probably in the last 6 months. Elon's a really interesting guy, and I don't think he gets enough credit. But part of that's because he's so busy at doing what he does, which is like saving the world and getting us to Mars. So keep doing that, Elon. But us as the general public and even Elon fans don't really have a good window into... Okay, who am I kidding? We have the biggest window into Elon. We get his Twitter. Okay, that's amazing. Thank you, Elon. We get all of the Doge and all of the memes. But like, there's an amount of appreciation that I didn't have for Elon. Like, I knew he worked a lot of hours. I knew he worked 16-hour days. But like,
yeah,
I didn't really realize what that actually constituted until Sandy Monroe had his interaction with Elon. Do you want to recap that, or shall I?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
So, Sandy talks about this in his recap video for that whole week-long or so trip. And what happened was, this was the day before we had our latest boom down there. But Sandy was supposed to meet at 5 o'clock, I believe it was. They were supposed to be at the gate at 5 to go for the meeting with Elon.
Yep.
They called up his assistant 15, 20 minutes beforehand, and she said they're running a few hours late.
Also, Sandy, I know that you follow me on Twitter and everything.
Does he seriously?
You getting me in contact with with Elon's assistant, cool. Please? Yeah, he follows me on Twitter. I have no idea why. Yeah, I know. Every time I see that, I'm like, I have no idea why you're following me,
but
buddy,
basically, they were a couple hours behind, and they were offered a full tour. So they spent 2 hours walking around the SpaceX facility down there in Boca Chica, and I'm like, 2 hours in a playland of wonderfulness of stainless steel towers. Please, I want to see some of that.
Let's just say, if I went on that trip, I would have had to bring extra pairs of underwear.
Following up that tour, they right before they started recording, it was just Sandy and Elon talking for about 30 minutes is what he said. So it was just him, not even his video guy in there with him. And then after that is, of course, the 45-minute long interview that we had. If you haven't watched that, go to Sandy's channel and watch it. It's really something. But after apparently...
yeah.
As soon as they were done, cool. He said, we're about to have some kind of review meeting or something like that. Do you want to sit in on it? Well, this was somewhere around like 8 o'clock, 8:30 or something like that, whenever he said that. Sandy and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they left at like 11:30 and they were still going on in this meeting. So for one, that's crazy. He's sitting there in there with a team, almost midnight, still going over stuff.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Can I say how much of a dream that is? I say, like, I would love to be a fly on the wall in anything Elon related. And Sandy literally was invited to be a fly on the wall, but that's
what I was about to get to. Is
in
like
the conversation a couple times, and I'm just like
the fact that also whenever he was in there, he's like, why don't you do this? And they were like, well, we know that, but why haven't we thought about doing it that way? I'm like, dude, Sandy, Elon, just get Sandy to work for you and everything would smooth over a lot of things. Yes. Yeah. Like, I mean, we've heard Sandy's worked on some crazy like planes and military stuff and all that. Just actually hearing him though talking about Starship and suggesting something in it, just going like, Elon going like, huh, yeah, why didn't we? It also makes you realize how much stuff goes through his head, that some of it just goes like every which way.
Yep. But like, Sandy got invited into like internal Tesla discussion, which I know this is SpaceX podcast.
No, this one was a SpaceX meeting.
We're talking about this, dang it.
Yeah, it was. No, this was a SpaceX meeting.
I thought it was
a
Model
Starship
3 related.
review. Yeah.
No. Oh, okay.
Which is even more.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even cooler.
So,
Wow.
but
Man,
yeah,
that is awesome, dude. Okay. So the reason why Sandy and his friend ended up leaving was not because they overstayed their welcome or the meeting ended or Elon was going to go to bed. No, the meeting was still going strong. Sandy and his friend hadn't had anything to eat since lunch that day, and so they were ravenous. And so at some point around 11:30, they were kind of looking at each other like, I think we need to go. And so they kind of excused themselves from the meeting, thanked Elon for his time, and on the way out the door, Elon's assistant met them. And Elon's assistant, according to Sandy, gave them the look that I knew was there, but I didn't know it was actually a thing. I knew it had to have been there for years and years of Elon's intensity. But Sandy said the assistant looked at them and said, "Have enough?" As in, have you had enough of Elon's intensity? And can you imagine, man, being invited into Elon's life for as much as you can handle? Like, I feel like I could handle a lot. I'd just be like, yeah, sorry, I don't need to eat anymore. I will just stop eating. Bathroom? Nope, I'm good. Nope, I won't do any more of that. No eating. No, I just want to be here with Elon.
But imagine what that meeting would have been like if it was earlier in the day. Sandy was full, milled up, bathroomed away. What could he have gleaned from that, and what could he have given to that?
I'm saying given because Sandy is like... I had no idea who he was until he tore down that Model Y. And I am so thankful he did because I've done a deep dive on a lot of his other pieces of content that he's done.
He's a legend in the audio industry.
Dude is like...
auto industry.
A-level player. Yeah. Not just auto, like aerospace. Like I have family who works at Lockheed Martin in their aerospace division. And my family member knew who Sandy Monroe was. Like... And I was like, you know who Sandy Monroe is? And he was like, yeah, he was a part of my...
He's got his hands in all different kinds of pots.
Sandy, he gets around. Yeah, Sandy is like the number one guy to talk to if you need anything, auto, aerospace, any kind of engineering help. Sandy is there for you. And I physically cannot believe why Tesla / SpaceX / Elon haven't just been like, hi, Sandy, here's $20 million. Can you please help us out for a year?
You don't have to quit your job or anything. Just, here's a blank check. Give us a year.
Exactly. And hey, we'll let you tear down all of the Teslas you want.
But to finish...
Oh, man. That's so awesome, though.
Oh, I was about to wrap up Starship. If you were done, that's all.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna say. Sandy is like kind of first and foremost a Tesla fan. So I think I have a little bit of an audio issue right now, but I think I just fixed it. My little backup microphone fell off. Sandy was first and foremost a Tesla fan. Like. He didn't start out being Elon's friend or being like contracted by Tesla to do stuff. Sandy just tore apart the Model 3, decided that it was kind of garbage how they were assembling it, and said, here's how you make it better, and made a few videos on it and never said anything else. Model Y came around, he did the exact same thing, and he was just like, whoa, this thing is like...
Yep.
Infinitely better than the last one they made. This is awesome. And he started praising Tesla and kind of becoming a fan and giving like on video suggestions to Elon. And they always felt to me like he was like, just like I say, hi Sandy, how are you? It kind of felt like that vibe of like Sandy was just like, hi Elon, try this. And it's like, I can relate to that so much. And here Sandy is, hanging out with Elon. So that's just totally epic. Probably one of the cooler stories, you're right, from the week. Who cares about perseverance?
But the last thing about Starship so far this week is we might have another flight attempt, maybe Thursday, the 25th. I doubt it, Elon. But if not, it looks like there's also Saturday as an option. So we'll see which one actually happens. I actually don't know. Yet? The past 2 days, I've just been running around like a chicken with my head cut off to even pay attention to space.
No, you're good. I completely understand. No worries at all. Let's just see what Tim's website
Yeah, I don't think he actually puts on their
previous launches. That
static
makes
fires.
so much sense why SN10 wasn't on that list.
Let's see. Oh, well,
Okay.
hey, NASA spaceflight to the rescue. Let's see what happens.
All that to say,
Dun-dun-dun.
all right, let's see what they
I'm
say.
scrubbing through a YouTube stream. Dun, 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 dun.
It doesn't look like they're saying anything about static fires for SN10.
Oh, wait,
However, they did mention stuff for SN9.
I believe that is a almost false statement you just made. Because looks like we had a static fire today.
Ooh. Uh-oh. We can't have that.
So it was about 6:16:30.
Why didn't I know about that?
Central Time today. So of course that is whatever today is, the
Nice.
23rd. There you go. So we might have a flight on Thursday. We might not.
Interesting.
We'll see.
I sure hope so. That would be cool. I'll definitely be ready for it. The biggest difference here with SN10 from SN8 and SN9 is obviously SpaceX is going to be lighting all three of the Raptor engines for landing, meaning that we have hopefully a better chance of getting that landing stuck. They're going to light all three, and then instantly after they're all three lit, hopefully all three light. But if one of them doesn't, then they won't suicide burn. They'll
Which
be able
was
to survive
also another one of those, why didn't we do that moments?
But
Suggested from Twitter.
I wonder if Sandy's input was that good. Yeah, all these fun. It's just such an awesome community. Like, I gotta say, if you're listening to this, you're obviously part of the space community, and like, you guys are awesome. Like, we have a really cool thing going for us. Like, there's very little hatred. Like, the tech community or the music community or these people can get pretty vile sometimes. But like, at the end of the day, like, this is all awesome stuff. Like, we hate on the SLS probably more than it deserves, but you know, at the end of the day, we're all just passionate about space and seeing exploration being pushed further. And it's so awesome to see that so many people, just like that random guy on Twitter, have great ideas, and companies are willing to listen if the idea is good enough. So,
well, should we move to a different company this time, since it's now becoming SpaceX again?
I think we better try our best not to become the SpaceX.
I guess we could just open the doors a little bit to another company.
Be a little too late for that.
And by that other company opening a door, I mean, we got a little glimpse at Blue Origin's New Glenn. And by little glimpse, I literally mean just a tiny glimpse, because you can't tell much of anything other than that there's a fin.
There is a fin. There's a fin, and it has been confirmed. Yeah. I didn't really know what to make of that picture, because I'm not quite as involved with... I guess Blue Origin doesn't make as much news as SpaceX does, because they're very private, step-by-step ferociously and whatnot. So when people are like, oh, our first glimpse at New Glenn, I was kind of like, wait, which one is that?
That's their next one.
Oh, wait, first glimpse. Oh, that's the orbital.
That's the one that's bigger than the Falcon 9.
That's the orbital rocket. Oh.
I think, I can't remember. Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's more powerful than Falcon Heavy as well. I can't remember. I think it might be more powerful than a non-expended. I'm not sure. It's New Glenn. We don't hear much stuff about it all the time. My head's full of Falcon 9 and Starship.
If you looked into my brain, 50% would be Apple. The other 50% would be Elon.
Yeah, we did get a little glimpse of New Glenn, so we know they're not just step-by-step ferociously moving forward only about a little tiny inch every year. It looks like they've made some pretty big strides so far. And hopefully we see some actual either flight articles, which is a long stretch, or just seeing some proving ground articles. So maybe fitments or stuff like that. But yeah,
I'm excited. I'm all for competition, and anything that SpaceX can have that competition against to inspire it to be better, do better. Same with NASA and ULA and all them. They need competition, and getting space cheaper is going to be the defining thing of our generation. That is for sure. Getting access to space cheaply is going to change our world in ways that we don't currently know about. So right along Blue Origin, there's another company that uses some Blue Origin engines, which may or may not have also had a test article that may or may not also have, had pictures circulating.
I did.
Did you see that, DJ?
But I was very curious.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Seeing how you're the one who told me
I was
about
very
that.
curious as how spaceship brought another spaceship, though.
I think it's a piggyback situation.
So if you're not familiar with ULA, they have a newer rocket called Vulcan, which is going to replace their older rockets. And it uses Blue Origin's BE-4 engines, and it was carried up whatever river to get to the Mississippi River from Huntsville, down the Mississippi River, all the way around and back to Cape Canaveral, on a ship called Spaceship.
Wow.
So
confusing. I want my money back. This is a confusing TV show.
But yes, we do have a Pathfinder article, which means it's not a flight article. They're just trying out things like their, I believe their vertical assembly, and a few other situations that they must have to test around. But we got a pretty new rocket. It's going to be not that long away.
It's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait to see it fly. I do have to say ULA. I'm excited about space and all, but I just say, good luck in the future, because while they're working on all these big, expensive projects, I just wonder whenever Starship / Blue Origin get their hyper reusability, heavy lift capabilities done. It's going to be a sad day for those companies, and I do love ULA. I've had many friends who worked at ULA, and they all love that company, and it's a great combination of different launch providers kind of all merging into one, synergizing, finding their strengths, working together, making space more affordable. But at the end of the day, $81 million Vulcan or how much is Starship supposed to be?
If you're going just by fuel, it's like under $1 million or something like that.
Starship.
But
under $1 million, yeah, exactly. $1 million or less. It's gonna be like, Oh, and by the way, the payload is like twice as much on Starship.
But hey, you do have to give ULA a little bit of applause because they are gonna move forward with trying to do some reusability. So yes, snaps, not a full collab, just a little bit of snap.
I saw that. Yes.
So do you know exactly how they're gonna approach that? Do you know what their plan is for it? Yes. So
aren't they doing a parachute?
Their engine section is basically gonna detach. So if you look at the pictures, you see like a step down when you go down to the bottom, and basically that's where it's gonna detach. So, but then it's gonna have an inflatable heat shield that is gonna come back down into the atmosphere with, burn off all that speed, and then pop a chute, and they're gonna catch it with a helicopter, sort of like another little company is gonna do, catching stuff with helicopters.
Hey, that is an awesome idea. I don't know why.
That's where most of the money is the engines.
Hey.
Those things are expensive.
Mm-hmm. And it's so funny that basically a rocket, everyone thinks of a rocket being, the tank part, but the tank part is just like a 3 or 4 millimeter piece of aluminum or steel or carbon or whatever. And that's not the expensive. I mean, it is expensive in comparison to an iPhone.
I mean, a propane tank is thicker than these things sometimes, engines, or most of the time.
Exactly, right? Yeah, totally. Most, yeah, quite a bit thicker. Yeah, like the poor Starship / Atlas, old Atlas Agena rockets. Those things, they're not pressurized. No bueno. Every one of my, you blow up one of those long balloons to make a little animal out of or whatever.
But it's a step forward.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Yeah. Any step towards reusability here on Earth or in space, it's a win. A win for the environment and a win for the bottom line. That's what we call a double bottom line win.
Okay. Oh.
I know. I'm cringy. Hey, last big piece of news, though. We have someone who is going to become a literal astronaut, who's going to get her gold astronaut pin. Not jealous at all. Also is one of the coolest humans I've heard about recently. Not only has she beat cancer, not only did she become a doctor, not only does she help kids for a living, Haley...
Sure, I'll butcher it.
You want to try your last name?
Arsenault.
Okay, cool.
Arsenault.
Now I won't be on the record as butchering.
Arsenault? I don't know. It looks like it's some kind of
Arsenault.
like
Anyway.
Cajun last name or something like that.
Yep. Thank you so much for butchering that for me, so I didn't have to do that. But yeah, Haley is confirmed to be the person who is going to be riding on the Hope seat of the Inspiration 4 mission, which is slated to launch no earlier than the fourth quarter of 2021, which is super exciting to see a well-qualified, smart, cancer-surviving patient who is amazing and is going to be going to space and getting her astronaut wings. So awesome sauce. Congrats
and if you
to her.
want to still have a chance at that seat, remember you have, as of recording this, 4 days and 21 hours. So realistically, let's say 3 days and probably 15 hours if we want to be on the safe side.
Given our production issues, we should probably call that 2 days. You have a solid 2 days.
Get on it fast.
We always
For some
have a
reason,
production
we still
issue.
have gremlins.
Never. We don't have launch gremlins at all. We don't launch anywhere.
Yeah, so she has that second seat.
Yep.
There's 2 more to fill up. You have your donating to St. Jude's seat, which is I forgot the seat name. Generosity. Yep. Wow, that should have been obvious.
Generosity.
And then Prosperity, which is the Shift Force
I know.
shop seat.
I was like...
So, of course, you probably have a better chance at getting a seat if you have a business that does stuff with Shift Force shop. But that also requires you to have a business and sign up for a shop. So, Generosity is going to be your easiest way to get in the running.
Exactly. And you can get in for free by going to the very bottom of that page, and it says sign up for free. I've definitely done that. Everyone should. Just put your name in the hat. It's a bunch of fun, and if you do want to donate, it all goes to a great cause. 100% of it. All this is 100% charity to St. Jude. So awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
I think that was our list. Anything else?
I think that about covers it this time.
All right. I think we're keeping the tradition here of just being right under an hour. So appreciate everyone. Instead of saying under an hour, I should say over 30 minutes. This is not an under hour podcast. This is an over 30-minute podcast. Half glass full, folks. Cool. Appreciate you joining, DJ. It was great seeing you and getting to talk some space news. Stay warm down there. If for all of you wondering why we didn't have one last week, it's because poor DJ was frozen in the tundra of the
I was
South
in one
United
place
States.
and my
So,
house was at another, and it was all ice between.
No way. Oh no. Well, glad you made it home safely. And you
Hey,
didn't
I'm in
die.
shorts now, so
That's
it's
not
fine.
good. Cool. All right. Me too. Don't tell anyone. I'm not recording in pants today. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a good week.